Is this Mr. Garcia's number? My name is Victoria Hill. I'm Max Hill's mother.
Yeah, this is Mr. Garcia. You must mean the Max Hill from my son's class, right?
That's right.
I'm sorry, we've never gotten the chance to meet before. My son often talks about your boy.
Well, your son, Sean, came to our house to play, so I asked him for your number.
Oh, okay, I see. Sean says your son is very nice. I hear they get along quite well. I didn't know my son was going to your house to play, or I would have given him some snacks to share with everyone.
Don't worry about it. Max invited a few friends over to play. I'm sure whatever snacks you would have sent with him wouldn't have sufficed.
Okay. So, what can I do for you? Don't tell me my son did something bad, did he?
Not at all. I contacted you because I have something I'd like to speak with you about.
With me?
Mr. Garcia, you were at the school's open house the other day where parents can come and watch classes, right? You know our children go to a rather elite private school, don't you? I couldn't help but notice that you showed up in your work clothes. May I ask you just exactly what you were thinking? Your clothes were quite dirty. It looked like you'd just come from a job site. A lot of the other mothers complained to the school about it.
I'm terribly sorry. I was working that day, and it was the only way I could have attended. It's true, I had just come from a job site. I suppose I was looking a little dirty. I'm sorry if I offended anyone.
I heard from Sean that you're a single father, so I understand that you're likely very busy. But our school and the people coming in and out of it have a certain appearance they must keep up. You know, there's a lot of students going there whose parents are quite well off. In order to not offend anyone anymore, I suggest you don't show up at the school in your work clothes ever again.
I understand. Thank you for letting me know. I'm not a stickler for appearances, so I tend to forget about how others may feel. I apologize again.
As long as you understand, that's all I wanted. And from now on, my little Max won't be playing with your son anymore. Please tell Sean to make sure he doesn't come to my house anymore, would you? And I would appreciate it if Sean doesn't speak to Max at school either, unless it's absolutely necessary.
That's... Why? What's the problem?
Do you not understand? I don't want my son playing with anyone who has a parent like you. I don't want my Max associating with poor, smelly people like you.
Look, I apologize for how I looked that day. You're right, I shouldn't have gone to the school looking like that. But I don't want to tell my son not to play with his friend. I'm sure if something happened between our boys, they wouldn't want to play with each other anymore, but I don't want to tell my son he can't play with his friend just because I attended the school open house. The principal and teachers made it quite clear to me that it would look bad on my family if I didn't go that day.
So are you saying that you want Max to tell your son himself that they can't play together anymore? I think that'll be a little rougher on your son, don't you?
Max didn't say that he didn't want to play with my son anymore, did he?
No, but that's because young children don't understand the importance of public image. So I think you should honor my opinion and make sure your family doesn't associate with mine anymore. Is there no way that I can get you to understand this?
Mrs. Hill, from what I've heard, your son and my son are quite good friends. If they're happy playing with each other and are getting along well, I don't see any problems with that. I don't think that parents should choose their children's friends.
You're just saying that because having your son hang around with someone from our family makes you look better than you really are. So please, I think it's best if your family stays away from mine. Don't tell me you actually think you're good enough to associate with us.
That's not what this is about at all.
I'm just saying, Keep your son away from mine. I don't want your family making my son or my family look bad. When Max gets older and realizes the difference between the haves and have-nots, he'll understand too.
I don't know why this conversation seems to be focusing on money, but the bottom line is, I'm not telling my son he can't play with your son just because I wore work clothes to the open house.
I see. I was hoping you'd be able to understand what I was saying, but I see you're not capable of that either. I'm not surprised someone like you can't understand simple instructions. But don't forget what I asked you to do. I was very clear with what I wanted from you. If you don't do what I ask, who knows what may happen?
Mrs. Hall, what exactly is going on here?
What can I do for you?
My son is refusing to go to that school anymore. I couldn't get him to leave the house this morning. He said that nobody in his class is speaking to him anymore, and nobody will play with him at recess. And I heard from a friend that you've been spreading a rumor around about my son. When you said, "Who knows what might happen," is this what you were talking about?
All I did was tell everyone the truth. I'm sure this only happened because you're a low-class single father, trying to put your kid through a private school you're simply not good enough for. I'm obviously not the only one who feels that way. I see you and your son couldn't even get the love of your own wife.
Stop being so narrow-minded. And I heard the rumors that my son stole something valuable from your house. That's what you've been spreading around, isn't it? Did my son really steal something of yours? Because you never mentioned that to me.
I don't have to prove anything to anyone, just to tell someone what happened. And to be clear, I never told anyone that your son stole something from our house. All I said was that after your son left our house and went home, it felt like something valuable had been taken, but I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. That's all I said.
It was obviously your imagination. Why would you tell someone something like that if you weren't sure of it?
Do I need your permission before I tell my friends how I feel?
That's not what I'm saying. I just don't want you telling people things that aren't true, especially when it's something about a family member of mine.
But that's the way I felt after your son left, so what I told everyone is true. I told them I felt like he stole something. But you understand now, don't you? Nobody thinks very highly of you or your son. A single mother raising a kid is bad enough, but a single father.
I don't care what you think about me, but don't be saying bad things about my son or my family. Sean is honest and kind. He wouldn't hurt a fly, and he definitely wouldn't steal anything. You have a kid. You can imagine how I feel, can't you? I'm not going to sit here and let you spread lies about my son. This is clearly affecting him, and it makes my family look bad.
Mr. Garcia, you yourself made your family look bad. And what exactly do you think you can do about this anyway? I saw you show up to the school in your dirty work clothes. What could you possibly do? You're a blue-collar worker. You have no business sending your child to that school. I'm surprised someone of your background can even earn enough to afford the tuition. And I'm surprised they let your type enroll in that school anyway. Why don't you just go back to where you belong? You can't do anything to me. I'm the head of the PTA of that school. I know everyone, and I know you're not friends with any of the families at the school who hold any power. So, who do you think the other parents are going to believe? A trustworthy person like myself, who everyone knows? Or you? Wait, what am I saying? We can already see who everyone believes, can't we? Otherwise, you wouldn't have contacted me today.
What you're doing is nothing more than slander and defamation. These lies can hurt my family and my business.
You think so?
I'll do anything to protect my son. I'll take legal action if I need to.
Legal action? And how much do you think that will cost you? I don't think a poor person like you could even hire a lawyer, let alone win a court case. You don't have the money for a lawyer. You're doing nothing more than making empty threats. You'll have to cut a lot more lawns or clean a lot more pools if you plan on hiring a lawyer.
If that's what you believe, that's fine with me. But just know, I'll never forgive you for this.
Do whatever you want. There's nothing a poor, lower-class wretch like you can do to me. Hey, sweetie, listen to this. Some guy is threatening me with legal action.
Huh? What's going on?
There's some kid in Max's class that doesn't have a mother, and last week the kid's dad came to the school open house in his work clothes. Oh, he was so dirty and smelly. Some of the other mothers were giving him dirty looks. All I did was let him know that what he did was inappropriate.
You let him know?
His kid is one of Max's friends, so when that kid came over to play with Max, I got the guy's contact info from his son. All I did was contact him and tell him he shouldn't have come to the school looking like that. And not just that, the guy's kid looked really unkempt and slobby. I told him I didn't want his son playing with Max anymore. Then he got all upset about it and started getting angry at me.
Did his son do something to Max?
No, he hasn't done anything yet. But that guy's a single father, so you know he can't be a good person. I wanted to protect my child, so I told all the other mothers about him. And he started telling me that it was slander and defamation.
Slander? What exactly were you telling the other parents?
I just said that when his kid came over to play, I think something of ours might have gone missing. His father isn't married, and I'm pretty sure they're poor. There's a high chance his kid would steal something. So that's what happened.
So their family did nothing wrong to us or our son, and you started talking to everyone about them like that.
I didn't tell everyone that, only the other parents that I hang around with. We were just gossiping. It wasn't anything serious.
So this guy did nothing wrong, right? This is the exact same thing you did before. If I found out you're doing this just because this guy or his family immigrated to America.
No, he came to the school in his work clothes. That's disrespectful and disgusting. He smelled like sweat, and halfway through the open house, I started feeling sick because of it. If he wouldn't have come, it would have been so much better.
What is this guy's name?
I don't know what his first name is, but his last name is Garcia.
Oh my God, Victoria! You better get over here right now and apologize to him.
What's wrong, sweetie?
Have you lost your damn mind? That guy's my boss. He owns the company I work for.
Huh? You're kidding, right? That guy didn't look like he could even own a car, let alone a major company. He was so dirty and smelly.
Oh, I don't know much about that. I've never spoken directly to him myself, but the owner of this company is Mr. Garcia. And I know he has a son, and I heard his wife died a few years ago.
Yeah, but Garcia isn't common last name. There's probably tons of Mr. Garcias in this city. And the owner of your company has gotta be insanely rich. A rich guy like that would have found a second wife within a few months, right? He'd have women beating down his door. He's rich.
I'm sending you a link to my company's website. Take a look at the guy in the About Us section. Is that him?
This guy?
That's the owner, Mr. Garcia. Is that the guy you were making a fool of and pissing off?
Yeah. Oh my God. This guy really is the owner of your company? Oh, why did he show up to the school in dirty work clothes? You'd think he would have shown up in a designer suit and a Ferrari.
The owner goes to construction sites himself to make sure things are going as planned. When he's in the office, he'll wear a suit, but when he goes to construction sites, he wears coveralls or work clothes. The people working out in the field love him. He's really well respected because he knows what he's talking about and isn't afraid to get dirty. They know he isn't a pompous jerk who stays in the office and doesn't know what kind of work they really do on site.
Oh my God, Jared. He said he was going to take legal action. Does that mean he's going to sue me? When he said slander, was he talking about me slandering his name and making his company look bad? I didn't think he had enough money to hire even a crappy lawyer, so I kind of egged him on to do it.
What's wrong with you? I mean, I didn't know his son was going to the same school as ours, but I guess it makes sense. It's the best private school in the city. Who wouldn't send their kid there if they could afford it? But what you did was just plain stupid, regardless of whether he was my boss or not. Get your butt over here and go up to his office right now. I want you to go up to his office, get on your knees, and beg him to forgive you.
What should I do? Should I buy him an expensive I'm sorry gift before I go? Do you think he'll forgive me?
Well, first you need to apologize to him.
I understand. I'll text him again.
Don't be an idiot. You have to do this in person. And I don't care if you haven't even put on makeup yet. Get your butt over here right now. I don't know if he'll see you or if he'll forgive you or not, but you better at least try.
Okay. I'm really sorry. I had no idea he was the owner of any company.
Obviously not. But it doesn't matter. What you did was despicable. I don't know why you think you're better than everyone just because I make good money. If I recall, your family isn't too well off. I don't know why you got this attitude after marrying me. And you better make damn sure it's a sincere apology you give him, or we'll both be out on the street.
Okay. Hey, he wouldn't fire you just because of what I did, would he?
Let's not even think about that right now. Just get over here. Do you have any idea what you've done here? And it doesn't sound like you're sorry for any of this.
I am sorry!
Oh, really? Then if he wasn't my boss, you wouldn't be panicking now, would you?
I don't know.
Victoria! You remember what I told you before, right? I told you to stop judging people by their appearance. Remember what happened at the daycare Max was going to? I told you to get rid of that prejudiced side of you, and you promised me you would. Do you not remember what I said if you didn't change?
You said 2 strikes and I'm out.
Yeah. And this is your second strike, isn't it? You better start thinking about your future. Victoria, sorry I couldn't get the time to meet with you today. I was busy with a lot of other things. I couldn't spare the time.
It's not a problem. I'm sorry for showing up at your office unexpectedly. I'm terribly sorry for how rude I was with you this morning.
I heard everything from your husband, Jared. I had no idea he was one of my employees. Oh, and for future reference, please don't ever get on your knees in the lobby and beg to my secretary again. She said it made her quite uncomfortable.
Okay. I'm really sorry.
Like I said, after you went home, I was able to make a little time and I went and spoke with your husband. I've heard great things about him from his boss as well. He got as high up in the company as he did because he's a good worker and he's well liked. I've seen him around many times, but today was the first chance I've had to sit down and speak with him directly. He seems like a really nice guy, and he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Thank you so much.
He's probably being wasted on a person like you, huh? But thanks to him, I've decided not to take any legal action against you.
Really? Thank you so much, you're so kind. Wait, wasted?
But I am going to inform the school about what you did. We can't have terrible rumors like that floating around the school now, can we?
You're right, I understand.
Victoria, I know you said you were doing this to protect your son, but are you sure that's what this was all about?
Yes. I was only thinking of my son. It's clear that I let the issue get a little out of hand, though.
Your husband alluded to something else that may have been the problem, and you know I have a really good memory. I remember during the open house, you were the one saying, "He stinks, he's filthy." I'll never forget that. Nobody else seemed to be paying much attention to me. So let me ask you one more time. Were you really doing all this to protect your son and not for any other reason?
Well,
So this isn't about any unpleasant feelings you have or prejudice or anything like that. You're fine with where my parents came from.
I have no idea what you mean.
I realize that you were probably right that I shouldn't have shown up straight from a job site, but it was the only way I could have attended. I didn't have any time that day, but I agree that I should have made myself more presentable. So I'm not upset about what you said to me and about me.
I'm terribly sorry. It's possible I might have felt a little upset from that day.
I understand. Everyone has different opinions on what they think it is or isn't appropriate, so I won't hold that against you. I probably did look a little dirty.
It really wasn't that bad.
But what you did to my son is not something I'm willing to forgive. Accusing him of stealing something even though you know he didn't. And speaking bad about my family just because I'm not married. What are you trying to do to my son? Do you not think it's bad enough that his mom died? Do you have to rub it in and make him feel terrible because I'm a single father now?
You're right. I'm terribly sorry for what I did.
And I hear you're quite well respected among the other parents at the school, huh? I went around speaking to a bunch of the other parents from my son's class. After checking into it, I see there's quite a few people working for my company who send their kids to that school. There are some other families who are from other countries. I found them the most interesting to talk to. They told me all about the things you've done at the school.
Okay.
I hear you've been spreading rumors about a lot of other students at the school who are, let's just say, bilingual. The other parents have told me that you're quite strong-willed in your opinions, so nobody really wants to stand up to you about them. They told me you get quite mean with people who are bilingual. Are you sure what you did to my son has nothing to do with where my parents are from?
Well, that was never my intention. It was probably just a coincidence if there were any similarities between those people.
Well, some people told me you said, "If you go against me, do you have any idea what my husband will do to you?" So is the person who told me you said that just lying to me?
I'm sorry, I really don't remember that.
Is that so? You don't have a very good memory, do you? Because you didn't say that. It was written on a piece of paper and handed to them. That person still has the papers, so I think they're telling the truth. What do you think about that?
I'm sorry, I really am.
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to all the people you've done this to. So if you don't want me suing you, that's one more thing you'll have to do. Come out, tell everyone what you've done, and apologize. Okay?
Okay. And, about my husband? He's not going to be punished for any of this, is he?
I'm not going to forgive you for what you've done. As for your husband, he's been a good, honest worker this whole time. I've no reason to blame any of this on him. Besides, punishing him for something you did wouldn't be ethical.
I see. Thank you for being so open-minded about this.
But whether or not Jared forgives you for what you did is a whole other story. What happens next is between you and him. You'd better make sure you have a good chat with him when he gets home.
Why? Did he say something?
He said you got caught doing something like this before, but that has nothing to do with me, so... You just make sure you don't ever try to make me, my son, or my company look bad ever again.
I won't, I promise. Did my husband say something about me? I haven't been able to get in touch with him since he told me to come to the office.
Like I said, that has nothing to do with me. All I can say is I hope you're really sorry for what you did. You're gonna have a lot of things to consider very shortly.
I'm sorry, but if I can't get my husband to forgive me, he's probably going to divorce me. I'm really embarrassed to ask, but you've got to talk to him about this for me. Is there any way you can try to convince him to forgive me?
I assumed you were only ever thinking about yourself. I told you I'd never forgive you for what you did to my son. And don't you think I've done enough for you already by not taking you to court?
I am truly grateful for that. But my life may be on the line here.
Now I think you're just exaggerating. But if you made a promise to your husband and broke it, that's on you.
But if someone in your position tells him not to divorce his wife, he might change his mind.
There's nothing I can do for you.
That's not true. Please, please. I know my husband will listen to you. You can help me.
Don't make me laugh. You told me yourself there's nothing a poor lower-class wretch like me can do.
But I never thought that someone showing up to a school in dirty work clothes could be the owner of a major company. If I'd have known that, none of this would ever have happened.
I know. That's the whole reason this has happened. If I really was poor and struggling to send my son to that school, I would have felt so terrible for someone to have said that about me and done that to my son. You must have known that, and yet you did it anyway. I hope you realize how horrible you're treating other human beings.
If you don't tell my husband that you forgive me, Jared will take Max and kick me out. My son will grow up without his mother. You're a single parent. You must know how hard it is to raise a child by yourself, right? And you know how hard it is for a son not having a mother. Is that what you want to happen to my son, too?
You take one look at someone and immediately judge them based on their appearance. You treat them like garbage, spread rumors about them, and try to ruin their lives and the lives of their family. Do you think your son really needs a mother like that? You do these horrible things to me and my family, and then you ask me to do something for you? Do you have no shame?
But I'm really sorry. I've learned my lesson.
I think if you had learned your lesson, you wouldn't be asking me to do this for you. If you continue to press the subject, I may reconsider my decision to not take legal action for what you did before. I'm not trying to get you and your husband divorced, but if that does happen, it won't be because of anything I did or didn't do. If he leaves you and takes your son, it'll all be because of what you've done. Tell me, who's really the lower-class wretch here? That's what you need to think long and hard about. After that, Victoria announced to everyone during a PTA meeting about what she had done. Everyone was disgusted with her, and she had to apologize to all the parents of the families affected. She was made to step down from the PTA for spreading lies, slandering other parents, and treating people like garbage. Word spread quickly, and the other parents immediately distanced themselves from her. Nobody will even return her text messages now. I heard that Jared and Victoria split up. Apparently, Jared couldn't stand her prejudiced side and warned her to stop after the first incident. She promised him she would change and treat everyone as equals, but that was clearly a lie. Now, with the second incident, Jared had had enough and decided to go ahead and divorce her. I know it's going to be hard on his son to have his parents split up, but Victoria still doesn't feel like she's done anything wrong, so there's no way she'll ever change. According to Jared, Victoria was usually out with her friends, shopping and having fun all day anyway. He said she never spent much time with Max in the first place. But now that she's not going to be married to Jared, I doubt she'll be able to continue that style of life anymore. Now that everything has been straightened out with the other parents, my son enjoys going to school again. He said all the other students are treating him like they used to. Thanks to Jared, Sean is allowed to play with Max again. The kids don't seem to care about what jobs their parents have or whose parents have more money. They're all playing together and having a great time at school like they should be. Of course, they're studying hard too.